Hey everybody, hope everyone is having a good evening. It's time for our weekly Q&A session. So I got a few good questions actually. And so I want to take time to address the pre-submitted questions for our live Q&A. And then after I address the pre-submitted questions, then if you guys have questions that prompt you while I'm on here, then I'm happy to answer those as well. So as always, if you've watched me before, you know that this is not medical advice. So make sure to consult your personal care provider. All right, so let's hop to, let me get a few minutes for a few more people to join on because I see people are joining and I'm waving at everyone as you join. While we're waiting for a few more people to hop on so we can start the Q&A, why don't you guys post in the comments and tell me where you're from, where are you listening from, just so I can give you guys a shout out. Let me know, and as you're letting me know where everyone's tuning into from tonight, let's go ahead and get into the submitted questions. And again, as always, if you have any questions you'd like answered during this, just either type them in or type them in the Q&A function. Nyan Zayla Riley, I don't read the handles well. I run them all together. But is from Slidell, Louisiana. My family's originally from Louisiana. So my mom is from Colfax, Louisiana, which is, not far from Alexandria, Louisiana, which a lot of people call Ellick. It's in Natchitoches Parish. And then my dad is from Minden, which is right outside of Shreveport. Not too far from Ruston, Louisiana. And then my husband's family is from New Orleans, so small world. Grill Elementary is from Martin Grove, Illinois. Cool. Dr. Mama is from Saudi Arabia. Hey, Saudi Arabia in the house. Claudia is from Schaumburg, Illinois. Cool. You guys are tuning in from all over. All right, let's get some of these questions. So the first question is from the Fasted Kitchen, and the question states, do supplements in pill form break fast? So specifically, they're asking about aminos, you can take, some people take amino acid supplements, creatine, branched chain amino acids, and they said stuff like that. So the technical answer is yes. And let me go through why. I'm not sure if you all follow, I don't know who all you follow on Instagram, but the Palo Pharmacist actually had a good graphic this week that kind of sums up this question very well. Ketogenic Girl has talked about it before, and a lot of other different people, but if you are taking, these supplements, for example, like if you're taking branched chain amino acids, if you're drinking alcohol, things like that, your body is going to use those as a source of fuel before they burn your own fat. So if you're fasting with the intent for weight loss or fat burning, then you're kind of not getting your maximum benefits because your body is going to use other available substrate for fuel source before it burns your own fat. I mean, that just makes sense, right? They're not going to skip over, or your body's not going to skip over the amino acids or whatever else you've taken, the creatine, the, ketones, whatever you think that you need to supplement with, your body is going to process those first before it dives into your own fat stores, your own glycogen stores. So that's why I tend to be pretty anti-supplement based, at least when you're thinking of taking supplements in the form for weight loss, because your body has all the tools it needs to lose weight if you're eating a real foods diet. And then obviously I'm biased, but I think also if you are incorporating intermittent fasting, your body will sort itself out. And so you don't need a lot of different products. Now, this is different than supplementing because of a deficiency, right? So if you're vitamin D deficient, or you're in an area where you don't have a lot of access to sun, or you're not, getting in that good regular resistance training to help for bone health, different situations like that, then yes, take a vitamin D supplement, or, supplement specifically for what it is you need, but don't take supplements because you just heard that they're good or heard that you should be taking these. Nyan says iron. Yeah, I mean, if you're iron deficient, then more than likely your provider is going to recommend that you take an iron supplement. But if you're not iron deficient and you've got enough iron for your food, then just taking an iron supplement because, I would say why, So I think when it comes to just nutritional supplements, you should look at what you're deficient in and what, you need to correct there. Or if, your diet's naturally, if you don't eat a lot of fish and you're not getting a lot of, good fatty acids, and you may choose to supplement with fish oil, a high quality fish oil. You can piece and choose, but you really have to analyze your own diet and see what you're lacking. But again, to just take the, quote unquote, fat burning supplements, I don't think you need to do that. And they actually may hinder your fat loss. So that's one question. The next question came to me from my DM. So I'm going to hopefully paraphrase it correctly, but it was from Megan. And she basically was talking about her weight loss journey. Had a couple kids, gained some weight, lost some, but is now kind of stuck in a plateau. She's only been intermittent fasting for 10 days. Seems like her husband has lost weight just in these 10 days. And she really hasn't seen the scale move. And so she's just wondering, after beginning intermittent fasting, how long does it take the scale to move? And I know this answer is not going to be popular, but the truth of the matter is, it is highly variable. So it really just depends. Some people will notice weight loss within the first couple weeks. Some people have to do it consistently for a month before they see anything. Usually when I work with people, I tend to follow them like in the office in 2-week increments. So typically I'll notice that depending on the plan that we've agreed upon after like analyzing their lifestyles and their stressors, and also addressing issues beyond the fast, right? And I'll get into that a little later. But once we kind of look at that whole picture, most people I notice begin losing weight with a true, appropriate intermittent fasting plan within 2 weeks. Now that's been my clinical experience. Now I have had people come back to me in a 2-week period and they've lost 1 pound. I've had some that have come back and lost none. I think the longest plateau I saw before someone started losing weight that I've worked with was about 6 weeks. And we had to really tinker and dive in and figure out what was going on. That particular person's issue was that they were starting an aggressive intermittent fasting plan, but they were also combining caloric restriction, and it was pretty significant caloric restriction, probably too much, and they didn't realize it. And so once we corrected that and actually increased the frequency of their meals, because they were doing 1 meal a day and not consuming nearly enough calories. So we did 2 meals a day, and they started to notice the scale move. So there can be a lot of different things. So the first thing I would ask in addressing that question is whether or not what do your fasting fluids look like? I always bring it back to the fasting fluids. I guess the other point I should make, it's only been 10 days. So I really say, give it 2 to 3 weeks before you're like, what's going on? But if in your fasting window, you are consuming coffee with creamer or consuming, some other random things that are not indicative of a pure fast, then I would say, you got to clean that up. So that would be my first thing. In the comments, she told me that her caloric intake was around 1,400 calories a day. So in itself, it seems like you're doing enough. But the question I would pose is that since in the post, she told me she was doing 5 to 6 days of cardio per week, I believe. I just make sure that you're not, it sounds weird, but like over exercising for the amount of calories you're taking in plus the fasting. So you may want to just for a little bit back your exercise down. If you're doing 6 days a week, back it down to 4. And then on your exercise days during your fasting window or eating window, maybe up your calories like 1,500 or 1,600. Just make sure that you're not hitting your body from like all angles at once. Your body's like, what's going on? Other thing I always ask people, like, how is your sleep and how is your stress level? And I know people are like, oh, that's hokey, but stress and sleep deprivation can completely stop the scale from moving or see it go the other way. So you have to address all of those things. And then your nutrition, obviously nutrition. Are you eating a lot of processed foods? Are you eating mainly whole foods? You don't have to be perfect. It's not that you can't have, certain things here or there, but you got to see the consistency. So hopefully that will help Megan, you troubleshoot, or really anyone who's watching and has the same kind of question. Now, Shazia Akbar asked a question, are diet sodas okay? And during your fasting period, I would say no, they are not okay. Honestly, I don't think diet, pop is good at all. I mean, I'll just, throw out my biases there. Like for me personally, I remember when I was on call at my first job right out of fellowship, I would go through 2 or 3 or 4 Diet Mountain Dews a day. And I was always like, it's fine, it's diet, it's fine, it's diet. And I couldn't lose any weight. And so, the artificial sugars in that, it still can play a role. So I would just, caution you and say personally, definitely in your fasting window, don't do, diet pop. Sorry, I have to change soda to pop because I'm from Michigan. And when you are during your eating window, I personally would say if you could just cut that out altogether. Like I maybe have pop now a couple times a year. If that, and I would just get out of the habit of drinking, sugar sweetened beverages in general and slowly, decrease that. So hopefully that was helpful. So, all right, guys. Well, if no one else has any questions, then I am going to hop off. Let me know. Remember to submit questions. If you ask them in my DMs or if you submit them to the QA or put them on the post, I will answer them weekly during the live sessions. Also in the next couple weeks, I have a few joints coming up, actually quite a few joint live sessions. So hopefully you'll tune into that. And then also look for more, coming from me in the month of June, where I have a free 5-day course where we go into everything about intermittent fasting and then some more women-specific topics, PCOS related, pregnancy related, weight loss, all of those good things. And that will be going on in my Facebook group, but I'm going to try to also simultaneously stream to Instagram. So, last question, there's one more and it says, what do you suggest if you hit a plateau? Shazia, I'm actually gonna tag you in a IGTV video that I made because I went through a lot of helpful suggestions for that. So hopefully you'll find that helpful there. And then Confessions of a Server said, glad you liked my pizza meme. Yes, I thought it was funny. And see, I gave you credit for the meme. So I wasn't a meme stealer. I was a meme reposter. All right, guys, you have a good night. Take care. Bye.